Woman lecture, and either something about alien cultures or fourth encounters of close encounter of the fourth kind or something along this time. I'm going to talk a little bit about the alien cultures, a little bit about the whole idea and concepts of UFOs and how it started, where it is progressively now. I don't know that I can get in a whole thing on the woman lecture. I want to talk a little bit about the ozone layer that's breaking up, ozone therapies, hydrogen peroxide, stabilized oxygen, this kind of thing. There are some women who mention certain things about the woman lecture that ask that I cover that, but the body seems to be more involved with the UFO phenomena and so like that. I'm going to attempt to address all of them. The emphasis again on alien cultures and UFOs. When we're talking about unidentified flying objects, I should have asked for a backward. I'm a backward user, but I'll paint the middle pictures. UFOs, or unidentified flying objects, means something that is solid, is unidentifiable. When you see it, you don't recognize it, and seems to be capable of aerodynamic lift, flight, mast. How many of you ever heard the term flying saucers? All right, now that differs from UFOs. Flying saucer is something that's capable of flight and looks like a saucer or a platter skimming around. Just in passing, how many have ever seen what they consider a flying saucer? I don't mean the movies now. I mean, actuality, really up there. How many have ever seen, again, what they consider a UFO? Okay. The two are used or not. They're separate. UFO means something that's up there, is up there, but you don't even understand what you're seeing. It looks quite different from anything conventional. But saucer means something that looks like a platter spinning around you there, and you see all the movies with it per se. The term flying saucer was first utilized by Kenneth Arnold on June 24th, 1947. And I suggest to you, if you're not going to buy some of the tapes, then take a few notes at least on these dates, because these are the dates that people forget, and these are the things probably you can have reference to long after I leave. At that time, he was flying over the Cascade Range, again near Mount Rainier in Washington. He was a rich millionaire, dealt in potatoes and flying a little P-47, a Piper Cub, and he stated that out to his right, he saw 9 kind of skimmy lights or something that seemed to be glowing and flickering. As he watched, they made L turns, 90-degree turns. Okay, something that aircraft, by the way, too, we're talking about 1947, so there weren't too many aircrafts going swoop then. In fact, I don't know if too many doing it now. They did seem to all just go in every kind of direction. They scattered. The formation was broken. He was aware of some that seemed to come under him, a couple that seemed to go overhead. And they made these 90-degree turns, stopped, spun around. He states that he felt like there was kind of a green glow or something entering into his cabin. He's not really sure. Then they all stacked up again where he originally saw them, and swoop, they went from horizon to horizon in less than 3.5 seconds. He landed, was kind of shook up, and because he was a millionaire, they listened to him, and they asked him, what did he see? Could he describe it? So the best thing he could describe, it looked as though somebody had taken a saucer that you set a teacup into, turn it upside down, and skim it, much like we get the little discs that seem around now and the kids play with. So then ask again, well, why hasn't it ever been seen again by any kind of personnel, if you would, or somebody who'll be trained in things that run, bump, and so in the sky? First of all, this is picture Kenneth Arnold. These are quite old. That's why I have them in boss. And this is him. I don't know if you can see in the back or not. This picture of him by the plane after he landed. Again, this is June 24th, 1947. First seen over Mount Rainier, 2 p.m. Okay, Kenneth Arnold. He coined the phrase and flying saucer because that's what it looked like. Next question again is, well, why hasn't it ever been seen, let's say, by anybody that's trained and so on like that? We have what is called then the case of Captain Thomas Mantell. Captain Thomas Mantell's incident happened January 7th, 1948. And at that time, Captain Thomas Mantell was an Air Force ace during World War II. He had shot down 5 different enemy planes, had not been shot out himself, and was a commander of a squadron that was ferried material to Godman Air Force Base in Lexington, Kentucky. The key to remember in this little story is that as he and his flight came toward the base. The tower person contacted him by radio and stated not to land, but if any of his flight had to, because this guy had a souped-up model, being an Air Force ace, his plane had actually lean tanks, that he wanted them to try to seek out a bogey that had been buzzing the base for over 45 minutes. Now that should be remembered. Contacts from the tower man to him. He asked for coordinates, what did it look like, so on and so forth. He said it seemed to have been kind of round. It reflected light or was glowing, he didn't know, but it was interfering with communications. They had already asked for some fighters to be sent up there, but they had not arrived yet. At any rate, at the Air Force tower man's direction, he been buzzing around. To bring this little story to an end, he finally says, I see it. It has been keeping itself between the sun and I, or near the sun, and I couldn't see it before. He says, it seems to be moving in darting angles. Well, he did not have radar on board. The radar was in the tower. So the radar man began to try to get him closer to this bogey, which actually turned out to be a UFO. The three last communications were from Captain Thomas Mantell that I see it, and it's accelerating at tremendous speed. I'm going to try and go up and catch it. Next one was, I have it in full view. It seems to be metallic. The last one was, there seems to be an open. My dot is tremendous in size. It seems to be enlarged. And then that was it. Something along that line, paraphrase. The reports were that they had found Captain Thomas Mantell's plane broken into with no body inside. Another report was issued about 20 minutes later that they'd found the wreckage of this plane scattered over a 50-mile area and no one inside. The last one was that they had not found Captain Thomas Mantell, but that the plane had been striation marks and disintegrating marks throughout it. Now, obviously, all three did not happen. What is key is this. The Air Force stated that Captain Thomas Mantell had chased the planet Venus to his death.